everybody. It is time to get started. Let me pop my webcam on. Now that you really wanted to see my face, right? Fabulous. It's Real Talk. It's Thursday. Let's get going. Let me take a look and see if I got any responses on my poll. I admit that I did start it late, so, you know, it is what it is. I probably should have had it going earlier. But, let's see your content. Dum dum dum. How is everybody today? How is everything going? Hopefully you're having a good time. That's okay. I'm glad you're here. Yes, yes, the end of dinner indeed. I'm still dealing with dinner. I have my bread left to finish, but that's all. Let's look at my posts. No, no restrictions, blah, blah, blah. And no comments, no feedback, so it's okay. We'll figure something out. I thought I'd at least give you guys input on the conversation. My hair is looking worse. There we go. Now it's back where it should be. Blah. So, it's actually been a really good week. I've gotten a lot of writing done. I've gotten a lot of problems solved for people. Having a client with an emergency publishing issue, and we managed to sort that out, so his books were ready for pickup today. He's got a book signing on Saturday, and it was such a thing. I managed. He got me his files for editing May 10th, and maybe that sounds like a lot of time, but I had back-to-back conferences to go to, so I didn't have the time to devote to editing that I normally would have. Plus, at that point in time, up until May 22nd, I was working a part-time job too. So I didn't get the editing on that work done until June 1st. Got it formatted June 2nd and uploaded to Ingram Spark and got in contact with him. Now, Ingram Spark has an incubation period where they go over your files and they review it and they take their sweet time doing that. And there's no way to expedite that process. It's just, it is what it is. They didn't get the file back to me until Friday, and I recognized on Wednesday, that there was a problem in the file that I sent them. And so I corrected that problem and had it prepared. So the moment that they gave me the kickback that said, okay, we need your proof approval, I was ready with the new files, able to upload it, get it in their hands, and got it back the same day, so February 5th, and we got the books ordered that day. But it was evening by the time we did. And he paid the $400 rush fee to have those books processed faster. But faster doesn't always mean what you think it means in publishing terms. And so they still took their sweet time. They didn't actually finish printing the books until the 16th, and they shipped it out that day. And so the books are due to arrive the 19th, tomorrow at 9 p.m. But last Friday, Kevin's all like, I don't know if they're going to get it done. I can't afford to take the risk. We need to get a fix in place. What can we do? So, of course, I help him find a printer who can produce books, 100 books in that short a time frame. I get the files adjusted. I get them over to the printer. I get the cover adjusted. I get that over to the printer. Get it all squared away to be produced in time for pickup on Wednesday. They don't pick up. So, I've been putting out flyers left, right, and center. And then My publishing client that I've been working with for 4 years, I part of what I did during the Catholic Writers Conference was I helped secure him a pitch session with a publisher that I had a good feeling was going to want his kind of book. And sure enough, helped him put together the pitch, helped him practice the pitch. He pitched. They asked for a submission request. A week and a half later, he sends me an email. Hey, Brandy, I still haven't heard back from the publisher. He did not read the guidelines that told him that it was his responsibility to reach out to the publisher. So I had to educate him. He comes back, he's like, oh no, they've got these submission guidelines. Can you help me workshop it? I'm like, yeah, okay. So I help him put together his submission packet, and this is now sitting in his desk, waiting for him to get around to it, to review what I gave him and decide. And he's like, at one point, part of what they wanted was a 3-page, double-spaced, 12-point font synopsis of the 99,000 word novel, which if you've ever tried to create one of those, it's pretty tough to distill a 99,000 word novel into 3 pages, and I did it. He looks over my synopsis, he's like, yours has a lot less words than mine. So I look at the synopsis he'd been submitting to publishers. His was 2 pages, but it was single-spaced and not 12-point font. And I explained to him, yes, mine is going to have a lot less pages because it's double-spaced 12-point font like the submission says. So, the joys of newbie authors. The thing is, if you ever get a submission request from a publisher, first of all, it is your job to reach out to them after the fact and follow up. Second of all, review their submission requirements, make a checklist, make sure you are absolutely certain you are following every single thing they tell you to the letter. Anything less than that, they will reject your manuscript. Because part of the test of the submission is, can you follow basic instructions? Will you be a pain in the assets to work with? And we use all those to test you on that. So, plus they want to know, do you know your craft? Do you know your book? Can you explain it? Yes, RTFM is the very polite way of putting it. Read the fine manual. So anyway, but he's new to this game, and so it's about walking them through the process of what they need. And of course, my other client, the total cost of his learning curve has been $6,000 for a total of 150 hardbacks and 100 paperbacks. And the paperbacks, you can't price them too high because otherwise people aren't going to buy them. And we're pushing the limit at pricing it at $19.95. And he was like, oh, I was going to price it at $25 to at least kind of help offset my costs. I'm like, yeah, dude, you can't do that. But what I can do, and what I am doing, is working on creating some ancillary material to go with the book so that they get more value out of the purchase than just the book. And so that's part of what I'm working on right now. I've got some of it done. I need to finish it up. In the middle of all of that I've got going on, June 6th, which was Saturday, June 6th, June 6th, Saturday, I wake up with Writing for Christ, the title in my head. The subtitle I get after that is Answering God's Call to Share His Truth with Humanity. And then I've been writing pretty much every day, except the days I took off to deal with other people's fires, my clients' fires. Every day toward getting this book done. And I am 35,000 words into the book, which is good. 35,000 words, 10 chapters in. And I have an additional I finished 7 mysteries of 20, so 13, an additional 13 chapters to go. So it'll probably be around 23 or 24 chapters. And each chapter is hitting around 3,500 to 4,000 words. So it's a good little chunky book. And then once I get done with that, I plan to submit it to some beta readers, get their feedback on it, go through the full editing process, and then query for a Catholic publisher. And then on top of that, in the middle of all that, I got an idea for a storyline. I guess I was looking mentally to take a break from the seriousness of what I'm working on and go back to having some fun with my writing. And so the Big Busty Damsels in Distress series has been born, and it's not slutty or smutty or anything like that. It's just good-hearted fun. And it's about an author who, for most people, don't realize this, but if you get a publisher and they give you an advance is a lot like a loan given to you on the basis of what the publisher thinks that they're going to earn from selling your books, right? So if they give you, for instance, a $50,000 advance, it's because they probably anticipate making 5 to 10 times that amount in book sales. And so this author got a substantial advance because she won a publishing contract with a $50,000 prize attached to it, which was her advance. And the book series that she started, the book that she wrote, didn't fully earn out the advance. It did well, but it didn't fully earn out that advance. So they basically used that as a kind of a thing. It's not really blackmail, but it's kind of like is where they get you to write more books so that you have more in the series to help them earn out your initial advance, and you don't get paid more until that advance is completely earned out. So it can end up catching you with them for a long time. And that's the situation she's in. And her boss comes to her and tells her, well, her publisher, comes to her and tells her that if she will agree to do one more book in the series, a custom book for one of their biggest clients, that she will be set free. The advance, she will stop having to earn out that advance, and she will be set free of any further obligation to them, which means she can get back to writing the books that she really wants to write. And so she tentatively agrees. She meets with the client. Turns out he is the owner of a lingerie company, and at first that sounds kind of sleazy, it's like, whatever. But actually he inherited the company from his mother, who died of cancer. She was a big fan of the BBDID series, the Big Busty Damsel in Distress series. And each of the books is based on a fairy tale. So, like, for instance, book 1 was about Cinderella. Book 2, which is his favorite in the series, was about Little Red Riding Hood, only as a space captain. Okay, so each of them has a fairy tale theme to it, but the main heroine is a female, and she's got a substantial bust, but that's not her big thing, right? That's not the big thing about her. So anyway, so I've been having fun playing around with that series and working through it, and I've got, let's see, how much of that series? Not including chapter 1 of the actual book that she wrote that won the contest, I have 10,430 words written of that particular book. So I have been writing up a storm. Yeah, and having a lot of fun doing that. So I am enjoying it. They are busty. They are definitely not flat. And I'll read you this is the work that she wrote that got her the contest winner. So let me open up the one that I wrote for her. Let's see. There we go. And literally, she titled her first book "A Big Busty Damsel in Distress" in order to capture the attention of the 3/4 of the males that were on the judging panel. She knew that if she put that in the headline, they would at least be intrigued enough, and her gamble paid off. So here we go. What caught the prince's eye? Chapter 1. Ella's bust stepped into the room before she did, but it was not her bosom that caught the prince's eye. While there were plenty of well-endowed women in the room, and many of those attached to equally stunning faces, it was the way that Ella smiled at each person she saw that caught his attention. These were not the well-trained performative smiles of a polished debutante, but the kind of smiles that radiated a sincere joy at what she saw, a quality more rare than the finest of emeralds in his experience. In a room filled with powdered wigs and painted faces, hers was natural and filled with life. As if a spell were broken by her entrance, he felt himself coming to life. He caught himself wondering where she came from and how she'd escaped his notice. He thought he knew every noble woman's daughter in the boundaries of his kingdom, and most of those in the 4 kingdoms surrounding his own. Yet he'd never seen her face. He could swear to it. Was she, perhaps, a visiting dignitary? Why wouldn't they have sent advance notice they were coming? He wanted to break ranks with his position in the receiving line and go to her, but that would violate protocol and risk offending too many people. Entire wars started over less serious infractions. He was tempted to ask his manservant to bring her from the back of the line to the front of it, but to do so would cause a revolt, if not literally, then practically. A person's place in the receiving line depended on their relationship to the royal house and was indicative of their social standing. So he stood, bowing at women and exchanging polite, empty greetings with the men for what seemed an eternity before, at long last, she stepped forward. And then at that instant did the most unexpected thing. She laughed. Not a titter, not a polite giggle. He was used to those. No, this was a full-throated laugh, and he had no idea what caused her to do it. But he didn't want her to stop, either. "My lady, did I do something to amuse you?" he asked. Her eyes danced with merriment and sparkled beneath the light of the chandeliers. Her shoulders shook with mirth as she dropped into an appropriate curtsy before bobbing back up and flashing him a smile that radiated warmth. "I'm sorry, Your Highness. I just couldn't help but notice that here you are, in the middle of all this beauty, and you look like you're attending a funeral." Surprised by her honesty, the prince found himself laughing too. "You're right. I felt like I was." He caught his breath and smiled. "That is, until now." He extended his arm to her. "Would you care to dance?" She placed her hand in the crook of his arm. "I would love to." He escorted her to the dance floor. "I don't believe we've met before," he said as the music began to play. "You're right, we haven't," she admitted. "Though I've seen you, I doubt you've noticed me." He found that hard to believe. How could anyone fail to notice you? She laughed. "Plenty of people fail to notice me. In fact, I would wager half this room has failed to notice me at some point in time." "That seems impossible to me," he stated with confidence. You are a rare gem in the midst of a sea of ordinary stones. She shook her head. You honor me, but in all truth I am nothing more than an ordinary stone in a beautiful setting. It shocks me to hear you say that. What shocks me even more is that from your tone I believe you mean it, he retorted. But I assure you, you are unique. A most becoming blush came over those cheeks, and though he hadn't thought of it possible, added to her beauty. You flatter me. He shook his head. Not at all. I find empty flattery insulting, and I would never dishonor you that way. What I say, I mean. She stared at him, searching his eyes, and seemed to find the answer in them to her liking. The smile returned to her lips, and she felt her relax in his arms. I do believe you mean that. A feeling of delight welled up within him, as if he were a student and she a tutor who'd just told him he'd passed a test, and he gave her a smile. I'm relieved. I should hate to think what I'd have to do to prove it to you otherwise. I'm not sure, either. If fairy tales are to be believed, I strongly suspect there will be some terribly difficult quest involving dragons and perhaps the undoing of a spell, she quipped with a mischievous glance. That does sound daunting, he said with a chuckle, and then without hesitation he continued. Although for so rare a gem as you, it might be worth the work. I'm just not sure where I'd find a dragon. Ella's eyebrows rose. I'm sure the kingdom's full of old dragons and more than a few old bats, too. It's all a matter of how you look at things. Are there so many perils in my kingdom? Here I thought it was a rather plain and ordinary one, he laughed. Her nose wrinkled and the corners of her mouth twitched. Oh, there's so much more to your kingdom than meets the eye, your highness. Someday I'd love to let you show me what you see in it, he mused. I have a feeling that it would be most enlightening. She hesitated. The blush returned. Her lashes fell over her eyes. Let us see how this evening goes, shall we? You really are a creature unlike any other, he said, marveling. Every other marriageable woman in this room would jump at the invitation for a second meeting. You, however, you're not certain. He could feel her stiffen slightly. He hoped he hadn't accidentally offended her. Her chin tilted upward and she met his gaze. The twin sapphires of her eyes deepened to a midnight blue. There's far more to my story than a single night could expose, and I wouldn't want you marrying someone you hardly knew, no matter how intriguing. You mean that, don't you? He said, even more intrigued. Most women are far more interested in my title than in me, knowing them or their story. She shrugged. Not most women, I suppose. I'd rather be loved than be wed to a man who's a stranger and me a stranger to him. In all my kingdom, I doubt I'll ever meet a woman like you again, he said in all sincerity. I doubt I'm the only woman out there who cares about the quality of a man's character more than the title he holds, she said, rejecting the notion. My mother did. She could have married anyone she wanted. But my father was the only man, she told me, who cared to get to know her even before he knew she possessed money or titles. Your mother sounds like a wise woman. Have I met her? He asked, curious. She's been dead since I was 5, so I doubt it. And her parents disinherited her when she chose to marry my father. He was a mere merchant, not fit for their noble lineage, they told her, Ella said. I'm sorry to hear about your mother. She sounds like a wonderful woman. You do her honor, he said. It makes me wonder about the man whom she chose. I didn't see him escort you here. He's dead too, I'm afraid, Ella admitted. I was 10 when they brought him home from sea. His mind reeled, trying to find something to say that wouldn't cause her additional pain and grief. I seem to have a talent for asking the wrong question, he finally stated. She shook her head. Those things are part of my story. If I removed that part of my story, I'd remove them from it. And that would be sadder still, don't you think? You have the most unusual way of looking at life. The more I know about you, the more I want to know, he told her. She smiled. My mother told me that when you love someone, you can spend an entire lifetime learning about them and never finished the study. Until tonight, I'd have found that statement impossible to believe. Now, I'm beginning to think it so, he admitted. And that's as far as I got with the opening chapter of the story that won her the prize. And that by itself was another 1,452 words. So needless to say, I have been writing my fool head off in between streaming and practicing piano a little bit here at a time. I'm not saying I'm ready for prime time in my... let's see if I can find the folder for it. I'm not saying I'm ready for prime time in my playing, but I am slowly making progress. Did I not create a folder? I would have thought I did, but maybe not. Because I don't see it here. Okay, well. Ta-da! We're making a folder for the BBDID series. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I've also got a workshop planned, interactive workshop for writing. We're waiting on figuring out the exact dates. They have decided that it might be better to push it back toward fall. But I'm okay with that. Watching the creative process in action, yes. Well, you thought 50 tabs open on my computer was a bit much, and now you discover that the tabs open in my head can easily rival that. Yeah. So I guess that I can read a little bit of the BBDID itself, the book that actually started the whole thing. Chapter 1, A Love That Stays. I don't need to start another story. I've already got over 120 I'm working through. By the way, that was my mental comment to myself when I thought about starting the story. May LaFleur said, slamming her hand down on the desk hard enough that it shook the Author of the Year award hanging on the wall above her. Her publisher, Daniel DeCroix, ignored her outburst. Just hear me out. May glared at him, crossing her arms over her chest. I'm listening. This one's different. It's for one of our major buyers, he explained with a smile. If you take on this project, I'll consider your advance earned out. You won't owe me another dime. May closed her eyes for a moment, considering before opening them back up. All of it? He nodded. All of it. You'll be a free woman. She didn't like the pressure, but she did like the sound of freedom. Fine, I'll do it. What kind of story do they want? He shrugged. Honestly, it's up to you. The only rules they gave me are that it's got to feature them in a positive light and be targeted toward young Christian mothers. She raised her eyebrows. That's pretty vague. Do they need to approve the book before it hits print? He raised an eyebrow. What do you think? She glanced out the window. They're giving me very little to go on, and I'm supposed to write it and hope they like it? Sheesh. Daniel picked up a pen from the edge of her desk and twirled it through his fingers. I'm sure you'll do fine. They asked for you, specifically. That did reassure her a tiny bit. Did they say why? Any particular book of mine that caught their eye? Daniel grinned. They said they liked your style. The CEO of the company was a big fan of your... Her stomach clenched. She had a sudden feeling she wasn't going to like his answer. Don't tell me. Please don't tell me. He finished BBDID series. He especially loved Scarlet Rider. He said he wouldn't mind if you included her, but he does want a character that's unique to them. She put her head in her hands. Ugh! That big busty damsel in distress series is going to be the death of me. I should never have let you talk me into publishing it. You can't argue that it's your most popular series and your bestseller. You'd owe me even more than you do without it, he reminded her. She sighed. I know. It just makes me feel so slimy when I write them. Like I'm pimping out those poor heroines, and I hate that they do so much better than the rest of my work. He took a seat in front of her desk. I'm sure. But they aren't real characters. It's fiction. No harm, no foul. Guys love reading them because they love imagining themselves as the hero coming to save their beautiful, busty maiden from distress. Girls love reading them because they want that dashing hero at their side. It's a win-win for both of them. And, of course, for us as the publisher. You too, after all, you get the royalties. Or you will, once you finish earning out those royalties. She groaned. Ugh, don't remind me. It's trying to earn out that first advance that got me writing the next 7 in the series. May stood up. You owe me a drink. I'm going to need at least one to get this thing going. In the meanwhile, fill me in on the buyer. I need to know as much about the CEO and their company as you can tell me. Daniel chuckled. How about you meet me at Carmen's at 8? I'll bring the CEO to you. You can ask him as many questions as you want over dinner and drinks. I treat. May gave him a side eye. Don't expect me to go cheap on you. Daniel stood up and headed for the door. I'd never expect cheap out of you, May. I'll see you at 8. She waited until the door closed behind him to glance at the computer screen. Sorry, girl, you're just going to have to wait another few months before I can get back to working on your story. She saved out the file and shut things down for the night. She couldn't help but wonder who the client was. She'd never featured a business in her stories, at least not in a positive light. Usually, if they appeared at all, they were at least in part a cause for the damsel being in distress. She ranked corporations right up there with dragons, tyrants, and mad scientists in her most likely to be villainous category. Now she was supposed to paint this company in a more positive light, and she didn't even know what they were selling yet. She hated to make compromises like this, but she valued her freedom. She hoped that whatever it was they were selling, it was something she could live with promoting. And whoever the CEO was, she hoped he wasn't a complete bastard. She'd hate to have him ruin a perfectly good dinner and drink offer by being so obnoxious it caused her to lose her appetite. She took her time picking out an outfit. She didn't want to give the man the wrong impression, but she also didn't want to appear too unprofessional. She selected a plain brown jumper with a white embroidered stripes on either side and a full skirt, paired it with a plain white blouse with lace trim. Then she pinned her hair back on either side with a bobby pin and slipped on her signature black slippers. The look was guaranteed to cause him to underestimate her, and she was fine with that. It allowed her to test his character before getting down to business. She was sure that Daniel might have preferred her all dressed up, but that was one rule she held fast to. No one got to dictate her wardrobe. She arrived at Carmen's at 7:45 p.m. She did not tolerate being late for any reason. Early was her version of on time. Her mother and grandmother were both notoriously late for everything. Her grandmother was even late for her own funeral. She'd decided at a very young age that such a rude disregard for other people's time was not something she was willing to allow herself to indulge. Besides, the extra time gave her a chance to observe, notice, and get herself into a comfortable position long before the other two were likely to arrive. Daniel was punctual, for the most part. He arrived within 5 minutes of a scheduled appointment. It was irritating at times, but she couldn't dictate terms with him. She was at his mercy. How timely the CEO was would tell her a great deal about who he was. Did he respect other people's time? Did he consider himself above such petty considerations? Did he enjoy making other people wait for his arrival? She opened the glass door and stood quietly to the side. There was no use going up and reserving a table until Daniel and his guest arrived. She took her time looking at the patrons, writing small stories about them and how they came to be there as she did. There was the large, balding older man with a rail-thin blonde, clearly years younger. The easy story would be to paint the blonde as his mistress, but May decided against that. No, the girl was his beloved niece in town for a college visit. She watched the girl laugh at something the man said, noted her relaxed posture. The clothes the girl wore weren't inappropriate for the setting, but they weren't exactly Bloomingdale's either. The shoes were slightly worn at the heels. The girl didn't have the kind of money most of Carmen's patrons did, but she wasn't uncomfortable in the surroundings. This wasn't the first time she'd been here, and likely not the first time she'd been here with him. The two didn't hold hands. They didn't lean in close to one another. Affection? Yes, but no sign of intimacy. It made the story she'd told herself about them all the more likely to be true. May was so absorbed in her observations that she jumped when a rather deep masculine voice spoke beside her. "Excuse me, miss, are you waiting for someone?" She looked up into the most vivid blue eyes she'd ever seen, surrounded by a dark halo of curly hair and a face that could easily have fit on one of her BBDID heroes. Her faculties of speech departed her, and she stared as if she'd never seen a man in her life, unable to collect her thoughts enough to say something. Her mind began to clock the details, reestablishing order. The suit, pure silk, tailored, likely Italian. The shoes, high-quality leather, not worn, polished. The hair, styled, not slicked back, natural. Nails, manicured. And as she studied him, she noticed a slight upturn at the corner of his mouth and a dimple that appeared as it did. "Like what you see?" he asked, sounding more amused than offended. Those words jolted her back to reality. "I apologize. I didn't mean to stare. You just reminded me of someone." "Do I? You've got me curious now. Is it the person you're waiting for?" he asked, daunted. "I honestly don't know. I've never met him," she admitted. He hesitated for a moment as if debating something, but his eyes never left hers. "Think I could persuade you to come have a drink with me instead?" She was tempted. She couldn't deny it. And it wasn't just because he was so stupidly attractive. It had a lot to do with her curiosity about what kind of man he was, his story. But she reminded herself that her freedom was on the line and fun would need to wait for another night. "I'm afraid I can't." He slid a card from his pocket and held it out to her. "If you change your mind, give me a call." She took the card and read the name. S.J. Ingleton, CEO. Oh, it can't be, she thought. It just can't. And that's when Daniel walked in the door. "Stephen, you made it. I see you've introduced yourself to May," he said with a smile. "I'll let the hostess know we're ready for our table." She waited until Daniel was out of earshot before turning to Stephen. "You knew, didn't you?" The edges of that mouth turned up another notch and the dimple deepened. "You caught me." Her eyes narrowed. "Were you toying with me?" His eyes widened. "What would make you ask a question like that?" "Because you knew who I was and that we were meeting, and you acted like you didn't," she said. "I find that suspect." He held up a hand. "In my defense, I was not 100% certain it was you. I suspected, but I didn't know." She gave him a side eye. "So you would have skipped an important meeting to go to the bar with a woman you just met?" He winked. "Not skipped. Delayed." "You assume I would have waited," she said, staring at him. "What if I value my time more than that?" He cocked his head and put his hand to his chin. "Would it have been worth losing out on that much money just to make a point?" She stiffened. "There's not enough money in the world to allow myself to be treated like second-hand merchandise. You either value my time and talent, or you don't." To her surprise, his mouth stretched into a full grin at that statement. "You passed." She blinked in surprise. "Passed?" He nodded. "Yes, you just proved to me that you aren't going to be impressed by my money. I think we can do business." May was formulating an appropriate response to that when Daniel returned along with the hostess. "Right this way," the hostess gestured toward a table in the far corner with a lovely view of the city skyline. May closed her mouth and followed Daniel toward the table. She didn't want to make a scene, but she was determined to make sure Stephen didn't think this was done. Far from it. She had standards. Even if the man did look good enough to be on the front cover of GQ magazine. She wasn't going to allow his looks to distract her. She took her seat and decided it was high time to throw this man off his throne and put him on the seat. Or put him to the test, rather. "So, I'm curious. Daniel tells me you're a big fan of the big busty damsels in distress novels. What is it that most appeals to you about them? The busty damsels or the idea of women in distress? Daniel froze. Stephen looked her in the eyes and said, because their chest size is a feature, but it's not what makes your damsels appealing. They're intelligent in spite of their predicament, resilient in spite of the things that are thrown at them, and unafraid of admitting they need help when they get into a situation they can't get out of on their own. I find that a refreshing change from the boss girl stereotypes these days. So you're not just a pretty face, then, she said before she could catch herself. I certainly paid enough to get a degree that says so, he said. I assure you they didn't hire me for my looks. She could feel her face heating up and her brain began scrambling for a response. Their waitress came to her rescue before things could get too awkward. Is everyone ready to order? Daniel relaxed in his seat. Filet mignon, medium rare, please, with the herb potatoes and the French onion soup. The waitress made a note. She turned to May. And you, miss? I'll have the lobster and shrimp, please, she ordered, with baked potato fully loaded and the salad. Italian dressing if you have it. Stephen gave the waitress a smile that seemed genuine and at the same time the envy of every toothpaste commercial. May couldn't help but feel a stab of jealousy at seeing that smile directed at the waitress, even though she had no reason to be. I'll have the same thing as the lady. The waitress nodded. Drinks? Daniel looked up. Could you bring us a table, or could you bring us a bottle of your finest champagne? The waitress nodded and left the table. You desire a custom character for your company, but I haven't a clue what it is you do. Can you tell me more about your organization? May asked as they waited. Stephen took a moment to shake his napkin out and place it on his lap before responding. Lingerie. For the third time that evening, she found herself completely caught off guard. Lingerie? For Christian mothers? Stephen nodded. My mother founded the company before her passing. She said she wanted things that made her feel sexy without looking like a tramp. She shook her head. You are, I must admit, not at all what I expected. Stephen cocked his head to the side. Oh, how so? You just keep managing to surprise me. I find most people terribly predictable, but not you, she admitted. The corner of Stephen's mouth turned upward, and that devilish dimple made a reappearance. And I find most people too quick to fawn over money and power, but not you. I like that. Daniel coughed. Should I get the two of you a room, or are we still here to do business? She gave Daniel a look that could have killed a lesser man. Oh, most definitely business. I'm simply evaluating whether or not the business would be to my liking. Stephen's dimple deepened. And is it? She took a sip of the water, wishing it were the champagne. It certainly has piqued my interest. Tell me what you're envisioning for your heroine. Stephen reached into the inner pocket and produced a photograph. He placed it in front of May. This might sound awkward, but I'd like the heroine to at least bear some passing resemblance to my mother. You're right that in most cases that might sound like a son with mommy issues. But I don't think that's your story, is it? May stated the question quietly while studying the picture. The woman in it was cute, not sexy, not beautiful in the traditional sense. Brown-haired, green-eyed, girl next door, ordinary. He must have gotten his looks from his father, she thought. Nope, no mommy issues, just a damsel in distress that all the money in the world and the best doctors that we could find couldn't save, he said. I'd like to change that. May looked up at Stephen. How can my books save anyone? My mother loved them. They gave her hope. They kept her going when things got hardest, he told her. I'd like to partner with a cancer research institute and provide these books at no cost to women facing cancer. Those words sealed the deal for May. I'll do whatever you need me to do. Stephen's smile was as warm as a summer day, and she felt twice as hot when he turned it in her direction. You promise? She blinked. Of course. Any ideas for the hero? He shook his head. I'll leave that one up to your imagination. The waitress's arrival, bringing champagne in a bucket and 3 champagne flutes, seemed almost too perfectly timed. Daniel let her pop the cork and pour them each a glass. Then he raised his flute and smiled at the two of them. Let's toast your mother, the future of your company, and another big busty damsel in distress. May joined the toast, but her thoughts were not on the champagne, but on the mystery of the man beside her. In her experience, handsome men only came in one of three flavors: gay, conceited, or hopelessly neurotic. He didn't seem gay. He didn't act conceited, which left hopelessly neurotic. But that didn't seem to fit him either. If he were a book, she'd be racing home from the bookstore, eager to tear the cover off and start reading. That thought brought a slight smirk to her lips. Thank God he couldn't hear her thoughts. Then she caught his eye and noticed that dimple again. He couldn't, could he? Her eyes strayed to the long, delicate fingers grasping his champagne glass. A casual observation. No ring. No mark of indication there'd ever been one either. Single? She bit her lip. There was no use traveling down that road. She shouldn't even be thinking it. This was business, nothing more. Men like that did not notice women like her. They did not date women like her. They most certainly did not marry women like her. She glanced down at the picture of his mother. Or did they? She looked up at Stephen. He was turned slightly, looking out the city view, and his profile perfectly silhouetted against the glass. He was like a living work of art. He seemed to sense her eyes on him and turned to look at her. It's a beautiful night, isn't it? She nodded. It is. A rare view. He tilted his head slightly. Did you want to ask me something? She took a sip of her champagne to hide how uncomfortable it made her that he seemed to find her so easy to read. I did. What does your father think about all this? The slightest hint of a frown touched that face, contorting its surface. He left before she died. I haven't seen him since. May attempted to steal her face. I'm sorry. Do you know why? He shrugged. He said he loved her too much to be able to watch her die. But I don't think that's how heroes behave, is it? May shook her head. No, but it is how some people do. Daniel remained quiet, sipping his champagne. May felt for him. It had to be awkward being the third wheel in this conversation. But something in her had to know the answers. How did you turn out so different from your father? She asked. Stephen looked back out at the window. I loved her too much to leave her alone. And with those words, Stephen turned a key he didn't know he possessed in the lock on May's heart. She'd found what she'd been searching for since the day her father walked out and didn't come back. A love that wouldn't leave her. She'd spent her whole life searching for a man who would not leave her. If she could win Stephen's heart, if she could make him love her, she felt confident he would stay, no matter what. He'd be there till death did they part. Part of her told her she was being stupid. She just met the man. She couldn't get her heart to a man who was practically a stranger. But her heart wasn't about to listen to that. It had a wedding to plan. Alright, so that's the end of that first chapter. And yes, I've got more chapters, but I don't want to bore everybody with my work, so there we go. Yeah, so basically that's the bottom line. I've been doing a whole lot of writing and putting out fires in between the writing and doing more writing and more fire putting outing. But it's all good. And hey, good to see you, Bill. Glad to have you here. It's the first time I think you've been on my stream. Nice to see you taking a break. I need to get back to watching your stuff. You are so good at what you do. How's the wife? How's Miss Crystal? Oh, and I'm still working on my artwork too. She just got up from a nap time. Oh, nice. Yeah. Naps are something that I am not taking as often as I'd like to. Too much going on. But you weren't here last week, so you didn't know. Ubi, like last month, I guess it was, bought me a keyboard. Not a keyboard for the computer, a genuine keyboard for playing. Which I am not going to say I'm the world's greatest at. I'm not even going to say I'm good. I'm going to say I am learning. Pulled in all directions. I hear that. It's hard. Sometimes life gets tough. I need to be. Alright, so. Yeah. And this keyboard, like I said, I really like it because it's got a lot of different modes to it. Over 300 tones, it says. So, let's see. And it can do things like sustain. So. And vibrato. And both at the same time if I prefer. So, been having fun with a lot of that. And then also, like I said, it's got, let's see, brass is 056. And let's see, try different brass. Yeah, I gotta actually get on the ball though and learn some actual recognizable songs for you guys. Things that you would actually know. I mean, I have my own songs that I've kind of been working on and working on mapping out, and I haven't gotten quite done and ready for prime time, but I am excited about having the ability to work on them. So wrong fingers. So that's something. Freebird. I guess I do need to learn that one. Everybody wants it, right? So funny. I was never a big. I guess I'm more of a pop girl. Maybe pop. I actually don't have a real music genre preference. It's more like, do I like the song? As to whether or not it motivates me to learn it. And then, of course, did I make the song? Then I'm motivated to learn how to play the song. But it can be a little different to map my voice to the keys. Sometimes I get that to be a bit of a challenge. So you wanna write your story? Wow. Ouch, that hurt. So you wanna write your story? Yeah, that's clearly that note right there. Yeah. Slayer. You'd be surprised, man. Yeah, so there are certain songs I've written that I really want to get mapped to the keys, and probably I just got myself a printer. So that came in yesterday. Let's see. Oh, let's turn that over there. You can see that in the corner. And then I've got my sewing machine coming in tomorrow. So I'll be back in full creative mode. Part of the purpose for the printer is that it allows me to scan the artwork I create. Um, oh, and my artwork, the new pieces that I've been working on are all in the living room. But yeah, I've been using shark's teeth to create some cool pieces of art. A friend of mine sent me an entire thing of it. Like this entire thing is nothing but shark's teeth. And I'll show you. I worked on creating a stencil for this one is more of a religious kind of theme of artwork, but this is the stencil. Hey, how are you doing, Amy? How is things going with you? And then from that stencil, this isn't obviously finished yet, but whoop, the camera doesn't want to focus. So there we go. There we go. That's all with shark's teeth. And then I'll use paint. Yeah, most people have a love-hate paint. You love drawing cartoon characters? That's so cool. I actually do love drawing anime too. Let's see. I've got a piece that I did a couple weeks ago that I plan to scan and actually get more finished. Um, yeah. Now that I've got my scanner, there we go. That girl. I need to finish it, but there we go. Well, I've missed you too. So yeah, that's kind of like been my stuff. Been working on a lot of writing, a little bit of art, uh, a little bit of music. Kind of just putter puttering around. Wow. Congratulations. I am so happy for you. That is awesome. I mean, that is quite the accomplishment, actually, really. I keep hovering between 316 and 317, but I can't blame anybody but me. I haven't been really consistent in posting shorts and stuff, which is how I initially grew the audience. And part of it's been because I'm actually having a little bit of storage space issues on my hard drive. Like when this computer got built, God bless him. Do do I do? Yes, I do all the art on Ubi's store. That is my artwork for his merch store. And actually, I need to get a new piece done because it was hilarious the other day. Yeah, it was an exchange between he and Pookie. And he's like, I'm introverted but food motivated. You are two snacks away from being my best friend. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Um, and glad that I can inspire anybody. Anyway, so yeah, so I need to make that t-shirt because everybody loved it. Everybody was talking about it in stream, and that's how you know when something is going to be good. Like you've hit some nerve, and I think a lot of us are food motivated individuals. So I could easily see that. And you'd pop that in the middle. But yeah, I need to get that done. But I have been in the midst of putting out client fires in addition to doing my own writing work. I managed, as I said earlier, to get 35,000 words written over the last 12 days on one book. And then an additional 10,000 words on a second book and 1,500 words on a book that's a spin-off from that other book. So, yeah, I've been doing a bit of writing here and there, just a little bit. Oh my goodness. And that's probably my big jam is my writing. I discovered last year when I was in the middle of writing a book that if I don't write fiction often enough, fiction is how my brain processes the backlog of emotion and uh, stuff that hasn't filtered through yet. And so if I stop writing fiction, then I start getting creative energy blocks and my ability to perform tanks. And I start goofing off too much. So I have to balance my nonfiction work with my fiction work and my other stuff to make sure that I'm always touching on the creative side of myself. I really do want to learn Moonlit Sonata. That has been one of my favorite pieces since I was a kid. And that's one that I have a goal. I think I'm going to set a goal of trying to at least learn the opening couple of stanzas for it, maybe by next week, so that I can play that and have a few more pieces to show off by next week of art and maybe some more writing done. And just, whatever you guys want to talk about, you guys are more than welcome to suggest topics. This is real talk, so it's just whatever's life, the universe, and everything is good. Have you seen your channel yet? No, let me take a look at it real quick. And I'll pop it up on stream here in a moment. Oh, okay. Nice. Do you have any of your art that you're showing off on it? Let's look. Okay. I am subscribed, so that's awesome. And yeah, you are super close. Oh, look at that. Is that your art? Okay, give me just a second. I'm going to turn off my webcam for a minute and let you guys see what I see. Let's see if we can. No, that's not the right one. Ah, this is it. Okay. So let's see what we got going on. Stop lying to yourself. Oh, nice. I wonder if I can get the audio on it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I bet if I unplug it, I can. There we go. Here we go. There is power in the name of Jesus. There is power in the name of Jesus. There is power in the name of Jesus. To break every chain, break every chain, break every chain. Okay, sure. Give me just a second. Let me go look in the posts. All right. Let's see your posts. Oh, you did Mario. So cute. Oh, nice job. Do great. All right, let's look at your other mark. Yoshi. Is that your big thing? All the Marios. That's adorbs. Takes a lot of work. I will grant you that. Oh, I like the thumbnail. That's cute. Oh, you did Sheriff Woody? Okay. Haha. The aliens. The claw. Nice. Very nice. Let's see what we got going on. Oh, and yes, let the Lord be with you. Amen. Queen Barb from Trolls. Oh, the Lion King characters. Jack Jack. Nice. Well, that's where it starts. That's where it starts. You're just trying to capture what you like. I know I didn't start with very much detail in my work. I guess I could, to be fair, show you what I used to do. When I was younger. And let's see. Alright, I'll flip it back to me. But anyway, actually, this piece of art right here in the corner, that's something I did recently. It was initially done for somebody, but they didn't appreciate it, so I said, fine, I will keep it. It will be mine. Awesome. Join the art crew. Do you just... You have your art theme song? Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I just love people. I love you guys. And I love celebrating other people. I think we don't do nearly enough of that these days. Don't support enough of it. Don't support each other enough. Since I did take time to... Oh, well, actually, I can make that available. That's a good idea. I think I have an Etsy store. I need to, like, look into it, make sure it's still active. But if not, I'll put my stuff on another store so you guys can find it and be able to make purchases if you so choose. You guys are awesome. It's one of the reasons why I like doing this stream is I like hanging out with you, chatting with you, just discussing life with you. Whatever's going on. And if there's ever something that's on your mind and you want to talk about it, don't hesitate to let me know. Type it in chat. We can always discuss it. We may not agree, and that's one of the things I want you to know is it is okay not to agree with something I say or something I believe or something I do. You are always welcome to disagree. Doesn't mean I'm going to change, but if you disagree and you explain your reasons why, we can at least have a discussion and get to a place where we understand each other better. So disagreements aren't a problem. It's just how you handle them, in my opinion. So, but yeah, it's so awesome to have you here. And you guys have made my day just by showing up. Amazing how small a feat that was. So what do you got going on, Mr. Bill? I know you do a lot. Let's check out your channel, sir. I want to give full attention to you. A fair amount. Let's see. Go to channel. There we go. And if you don't know, Amaya, this guy has mad guitar skills. Like, I will only ever dream of being that guitarist. If I ever Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and unplug because I'll have to in order for you guys to hear what I hear. Alright, so let's do this one. Your channel doesn't have to be for everybody. And if they don't like it, they don't have to visit it. But I do like yours. Well, see, that's the thing. It doesn't have to be your thing. But sometimes you can appreciate something that isn't necessarily your particular thing. And it's good to get yourself exposed to other things. You might find you like things you didn't think you would if you just give them a chance sometimes. Of course, I'm kind of prejudiced toward guitar. Ah, General Hospital's in the menu, huh? Well, that's okay, because it's almost guitar time, or almost TV time with my husband, too. We're about to watch them shoot rocket things. You know, Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch and all that. I'll just let this one play out, and then we'll put it back to regular. I'll probably close out here in about 2 or 3 minutes. But thank you guys so much for coming in. Thank you for hanging out with me. Like I said, if you guys have ideas for topics you'd like to talk about or things you'd like to know, parts of my story you're interested in learning about, always ask. I have no hesitation. The Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch, it is kind of fun. You know, it's supposedly reality TV, so take it or leave it. I learned a long time ago that a lot of reality TV is heavily scripted. Even if it's real footage, the editing they do is pure scripting. And they make people, yeah, every Thursday night. I usually start at 6:30, so that may be too early for some people, but and run it for about an hour. Just depends on how many people show up and how talkative we are. Tonight I talked a little bit longer because you guys were here. All right, there we go. That is what it sounds like with Mr. Bull when he's doing his own thing. And I love it. So I'll get back to my face. Not that y'all need to see my face particularly. But yeah, I try to do art is 6:30 Monday nights, and then Real Talk is just y'all getting to know me letting you know what's going on in my life, us talking about life, the universe, and everything in it. Real Talk is Thursday, and then obviously we got our interactive writing. Yeah, thank you guys for coming. I am gonna go ahead and close out because Ubi and I have a show to watch. But I loved hanging out with you guys. I appreciate you guys coming and staying with me for a little bit. And we'll see you. If you are interested, you are always welcome to show up on Saturday. I will have, I guess I need to actually create my Saturday stream thumbnail for it. That's on 2 p.m. Saturday. Scheduled. And it's called Together We Write, and it really is an interactive writing stream. You guys get to determine the direction, the characters, sometimes the settings, and all of the action. So even if you're not a writer, you can still participate because I hold the pen, you determine the direction. And have a great